KPI has lived through a lot for 120 years of its history, passing through various stages of development. The first one, 1898 to 1917, was related to the establishment and deployment. The second one is also known as the Soviet stage, when the institute became a multi-specialty polytechnic facility, one of the biggest in the former USSR. The stage 3 was set in the first 15 to 20 years of Ukrainian independence. The university had both to survive and rebuild under a new system of social relations. On the one hand, KPI faced a number of harsh challenges during the above period, and on the other one, it enjoyed rapid and qualitative development, while reforming into a multi-specialty, European-type technical university. 10 new educational and scientific institutes and more than 60 new boards were established here back then, in accordance with social and economic demands of the independent Ukraine. Yet, despite the university's capacity to solve multi-specialty scientific, applied and fundamental tasks, research activities in a new market environment didn't bring any expected results. Therefore, at the stage 3, KPI was posed with the task to implement a strategy of transfer to an advanced scientific ideology of innovation development. For that reason, the administration introduced decentralized governance for each scientific school to have its individual developments and solve new and non-standard issues in a market environment. On the other hand, different scientific schools could be combined into big multidisciplinary teams when necessary. Such flexibility enabled KPI to solve large-scale civil and defensive tasks. The Stage 3 had a new extended innovation environment for KPI, the Sikorsky Challenge, which opened new horizons of innovation development based on best patterns of world's technical universities. Today, KPI entered the new stage of evolution, the fourth one. This stage brings the university to the new development horizons within the international, educational, scientific and innovation environment. In its own region, KPI has set out on a responsible mission as a scientific and educational foothold to solve not only technological but also social and economic issues, ensure macroeconomic stability and implement institutional reforms. The above transformations are based on the principles operating in developed countries that combine the education, science, innovations triad. With interdisciplinary innovation curricula based on activities of 35 joint scientific and educational centers established here by big transnational companies, KPI works on a new state strategy to transfer from a low technology and role-based economy into a high-tech and competitive one. During constant development and changes in accordance with challenges of the globalized world, the KPI of today has been turning into an actual role model of an economically independent state, while fully denying the latter's role as a resource colony or ecological waste graveyard. The chronology of the few KPI's achievements for the last 5 years confirms the right decision to follow the chosen way forward. Development and ascent of nanosatellites Polyten 1 and Polyten 2 are only a few of KPI's brightest achievements. Once upon a time in the beginning of 1980s, new rocket carriers were developed and tested at the Ukrainian Dnipro factory called Pivdenmash. But even today, 40 years later, our country has not yet introduced any space research program based on its own satellite segment. However, this program has been subsequently implemented by KPI scientists Boris Rosamakin, PhD in technical scientists, and an engineer, Eugene Kovalenko, who developed a whole new generation of nanosatellites of the CubeSat format in joint efforts with a group of young scientists and students. Back in 2009, the Kyiv Polytechnic Institute joined the 7th EU Framework Program for Scientific Research and Development under its QB50 International Project section. In accordance with the latter, it was planned to develop a series of CubeSat nanosatellites for climate change research. The task was to design such high-tech nanosatellites with their weight not exceeding 10 kilograms and volume to stay in the range of several cubic decimeters. The latest achievements in the field of nanotechnologies and sub-miniaturization make this class of space vehicles absolutely unique, and their capacity is by far no worse comparing to their huge and heavy predecessors. The Ukrainian Polyten 1 satellite was placed into orbit in 2014, together with tens of other CubeSat satellites from other world's universities. The results exceeded all expectations. Out of 22 launched satellites, only the Ukrainian one is still active in space and keeps sending its signals to Earth. The works did not stop with that, though. KPI scientists proceeded with the development of another Polytan-2 nanosatellite. Its task was to implement an important international mission of measuring a group of parameters of the atmosphere upper layer, thermosphere. Since the power system is the most important element of any space vehicle, the developers used innovation live-feed batteries. It turned out that the latter worked much longer in a wide temperature range when comparing to Li-ion analogs. Long life of the first satellites was guaranteed by solar batteries, designed in accordance with internal inventions. When implementing the Polytan-1 project, the engineers were more about functionality of the whole system. In accordance with the research program, the first satellite was capable of flying along random trajectories. But it was more important to define the orbital location of the second one, since the mission of this satellite was not just to downstream its performance data, but also measure a group of thermosphere parameters with special sensors. The researchers were mostly interested in atomic oxygen concentration, known as satellite destroyer, amongst experts in deep space-related issues. Atomic oxygen is the basic degrading factor for spaceship coating for the vehicles moving no slower than 8 km per second, so not to leave their orbits. However, at this rate, specific oxygen atoms keep destroying a satellite's frame and panels slowly and surely. Hence, when knowing the contents of the upper atmosphere layers, thermosphere in the first place, one can design a map of safe and dangerous space areas. The design of a map as such has been an important part of the QB50 international project. Scientists have also figured out that the satellite itself should be as robust as possible in terms of possible accidents. Hence, they duplicated life support systems and sensors. They even considered possible communication interferences for a long time. In case of the latter, all the information is saved to the device's internal memory and uploaded whenever required. Only the Polytan-2 processor and memory unit weigh approximately 2 kilos, with a total value of $100,000. The value of the whole satellite, including its ascent-related costs, exceeded $100,000. Under the space research scale, this is a very low amount, but the Ukrainian university had to find investors. The Boeing American Aviation Corporation and Ukrainian Konstantin Kalinin, prominent former KPI graduate, venture fund, took on that role. All the operation modes of the Ukrainian satellite were thoroughly tested within the KPI's vacuum chamber, for it to be later sent to the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, USA, for its further launch into the orbit by the Atlas V US rocket carrier. On May 26, 2017, 20 nanosatellites developed at various universities all over the world, including the second Ukrainian vehicle, successfully reached the ISS orbit with a Japanese robotic mechanic arm. As of now, Polytan-2 has been successfully implementing its research agenda and downstreaming valuable research data to the KPI Flight Control Center. The third Polytan-3 project is focused on research of biological processes in space. Its name is BIAS. The satellite is supposed to check the impact of microgravity on growth of various plants in space. For this purpose, it will contain a special cartridge with Earth soil and atmosphere, lightning, temperature, and humidity sensors, which allows breeding mini-lawns in space. The results of this research are also important for Moon and Mars colonists. The research agenda of the fourth KPI's Polytan-4 nanosatellite, codenamed Ravi-Sat, considers forecasting of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other natural disasters, with its principles based on analysis of Earth's gravity and GPS transmitters' wavelength changes. These ideas are yet to be verified in practice, which is only possible through special research with the use of satellite segments. KPI scientists have already proven that they are able to create unique research satellites for initial breakthroughs in natural research. At the same time, university engineers, led by the Storm Design Bureau chief designer Mr. Serhiy Pukha, started their own work to create a group of 6 microclass satellites under 100 kilos each. This group will be tasked with remote Earth probing with 0.5 meters resolution. The satellite group will be used for both defensive and civil needs.
Наша лабораторія при конструкторському бюро ОКБ «Шторм» яка займається розробкою сучасних програм.
For the last 2 years, our laboratory at the Storm Design Bureau, dealing with development of new software toolsets and advanced electronic measurement and data processing equipment, has been designing a microclass satellite for remote Earth sensing, which is a relevant need for today's Ukraine.
Який якраз актуальний для потреб України на сьогоднішній день. Результатом створення це є прототип.
In the end, we have a prototype, or so to say, an operating optical scanner version, to become a prototype for the future scanner. Only the latter one will be twice bigger in size, and its technical specifications will be respectively better than those of the research sample.
Краще, ніж дослідний зразок.
In parallel with its space program, the university is active with modern aviation issues while cooperating with leading world companies. Hence, together with transnational companies such as Boeing and Progress Tech, 2 joint educational and scientific centers were established to prepare more than 500 engineers for the last 4 years, who were employed by Kyiv offices of the above companies.
Вже 120 років Київська політехніка готує інженерні кадри для високотехнологічної наукоємної галузі.
For 120 years, KPI has been training engineers for such highly technological and knowledge-based field as the space industry. We have prepared a huge amount of experts for this area. Since 2013, the Boeing Corporation has been cooperating with KPI in terms of scientific training.
Створений інженерно-конструкторський центр.
They established the Boeing Ukraine Design Center, named after SP Timoshenko, and employing about 500 KPI graduates today. They have plans to increase their staff by another 500 people soon. Though I'd like to reassure you that all of these young and well-educated people work for Ukraine, work in Ukraine, and pay their taxes to the Ukrainian budget. The university scientists have also been working on the new generation intelligence types of drones. The Spectator University drone is widely used by both the armed forces of Ukraine and huge agricultural companies of Ukraine and Israel to solve the current issues of precision farming. A grasshopper plane project for research of Mars polar hats is yet another achievement made by young scientists from Sikorsky KPI University in 2016. The Mars Hopper project is the winner of the NASA contest in the Audience Choice nomination. This is a prototype of an automated drone to be fueled by dry ice. That's another name for frozen carbon dioxide found in abundance on Mars poles in winter. It is planned that the drone will be moving across the red planet in extended leaps, each of them longing for several minutes. With its surfacing an icy surface, the device will be scooping dry ice for energy for the next jump. Another reason to boast is the recognition of the KPI team as the best out of more than 12,000 white hacker or ethical teams from the whole world within the CFT Time ranking in 2016. The ranking is comprised in accordance with the results of the teams in numerous competitions in the field of cybersecurity, being, if not, the most prestigious in the world. It is worth mentioning that thousands of other teams are below the KPI's one, presenting famous universities and huge US and other companies, considered world leaders in the computer technology field. The ranking itself consists of a sum of values scored by the team in international competitions during a respective year. In 2016, it included results of more than 70 competitions held in person or online. The top of the ranking as such is a doubtless success of the Physical and Technical Institute as well as other university units, which is a bright demonstration that KPI cybersecurity experts have high competence in cybersecurity, not only equal, but at times even stronger than their peers from the most famous world universities and companies. The university holds the annual Sikorsky Challenge Innovation Project Contest. The first innovation Ukrainian Sikorsky Challenge ecosystem was created in KPI to involve creative youth in innovation-based entrepreneurship. Hence, even before graduation, creative startup organizers are fully capable of developing several projects and raising related investments. Here, technological ideas are fostered and innovation startup campaigns are launched and developed. This is the environment used for implementation of the full technological cycle, from the research of new ideas and business model creation to raising investments and creating new innovation-based businesses. The Sikorsky Challenge Innovation Ecosystem is based on 72 university scientific schools, competitive all over the world. 110 high-tech companies included into the innovation environment, 28 big investors, and 7 high-tech companies of Kyiv City. Only in 2017, the Sikorsky Challenge Space hosted 213 startup projects presented by both young and experienced scientists, as well as 332 projects presented under Intel Techno Ukraine and Future of Ukraine contests by school students from all over Ukraine. The high level of KPI students can be proven by the academic Olympic indicators. 235 students took part in 67 National Academic Olympics, of which 45 have become awardees. This is the best result among technical higher educational establishments. Almost annual victories at the World's Mathematical Olympics have become a good tradition for KPI students.
Одним із перших студентів був Ігор Сікорський, який підкорював небо.
Igor Sikorsky was one of the pioneers to conquer the sky. We cherish our history, and now we're at our aviation museum presenting our prominent graduates and their achievements, which is very important for our students, since today our scientists, our students conquer space and atom, and I'm most assured they will be as famous as Igor Sikorsky himself, bringing glory to both our university and Ukraine as a whole. Today, the university keeps active international cooperation. In 2017, prospective favorable quarters were established at negotiations with ambassadors of 21 world's countries. Meetings with 178 delegations from all the countries were held, and a new model of cooperation with transnational companies such as Boeing, Progress Tech, Netcracker, Huawei, Al Salam Aerospace Industries, Antonov, and many others was established and extended to all the faculties and boards. The total number of international scientific and educational projects has been raised up to 179. KPI is a participant of leading world university rankings. The university has been the leader of the national top 200 Ukraine ranking for many years in a row. Strengthening the national defensive capacity has become another important university's activity. The technologies created by KPI scientists work for the national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine today. The university experts and scientists are annually commemorated with state prizes and awards. Moreover, the university hosts a wide network of organizations representing the interests of the students, organizing their leisure, as well as being engaged in scientific inquiry and civil interest protection. This is a platform for active operations of the KPI TV media platform and Radio KPI. KPI also hosts national and international forums, conferences, and panel discussions. In the end of 2017, the Open Student Association was established, which gathers active and passionate youth at its intellectual OSA club for open discussions with prominent scientists, experts, public activists, successful businessmen, and public opinion leaders. Meetings as such are used to involve students in solving relevant national issues, extending their way of thinking and comprehending the importance of their participation in the future development of Ukraine. The National Technical University of Ukraine, Kyiv Polytechnic Institute, named by Igor Sikorsky, looks forward and beyond while moving along its scientific and innovation way through all the political and economic crises and keeping to the basic principles and ethical conduct of the KPI school with its 120 years of history in the background.